Welcome to Club Clutch. I'm John Cochran. That's Lauren Anderson. And it is an amazing time in the NBA right now. Lauren, we just got to start here. Giannis has been traded. The trade that we've been waiting for over a year now has happened, and he's been traded to the Miami Heat for maybe what's an underwhelming haul. What do you think?
I think the Bucks needed to move on, and credit to the NBA for setting this up in such a way that we're not even talking about the NBA finals anymore. We're straight into draft and trade season. But the Bucks needed to get off Giannis. Like absolutely needed to. All of this, like I feel like an omelet for breakfast, but tomorrow maybe I feel like something else. Like this was the most protracted like trade saga that we've had in a very long time. I'm glad that they're gone. I'm glad that he's not on the Bucks anymore. Quietly, the Bucks are making some moves, right? Like they got off Doc Rivers and now Giannis, which is the two lead people that were bad culture eggs for that organization. And they also shipped off Bobby Portis, but they're getting Tyler Hero. This Yakas Jr. is no slouch either. And they're getting a ton of picks in return. Like this is a massive deal. And, I don't think that this is an overreaction for the Bucks to say that they're going full nuclear, trying to rebuild the organization. And from a Miami perspective, they finally were able to acquire an A-list star in the NBA after swinging and missing since LeBron James and the Banana Boat disbanded in Miami when he went back to Cleveland. So this is an interesting pivot for both organizations. And I was thinking, I think I sent you a text the other day thinking, Giannis, Bam, you've got potential Andrew Wiggins, Norm Powell, and is it Carter? Kevon Carter? Sorry, apologies for missing the name of the point guard. That's not a bad
Dave,
team.
did you say Davion Mitchell?
Yeah, maybe Davion Mitchell. Sorry, Davion Mitchell. That's a scary, long, tall, modern NBA. Get you points on different levels. Reliable 3-point shooting, defensive juggernaut that has to be turning heads in the Eastern Conference. What did you make of it?
I think I agree with some of what you're saying, but also just how the NBA is, and the Knicks are probably a little bit of an anomaly for this. Depth is what seems to be winning right now. Like these top end talent teams, even the Knicks, like they have a somewhat amount of depth, but you look at the Spurs, you look at the Thunder, you look at these teams that are being successful, it's all about depth. They got to get through the 82 game season. Giannis has had injury problems. He hasn't
Yes.
really been right for a number of years now. And maybe that was just the Milwaukee factor. I wonder how much of it was like, I don't want to play
Mm-hmm.
here. But I think there's a few things from Milwaukee's side. They get the 13th overall pick, but then they don't get draft picks for what, 3 or 4 years?
But
So it's not like,
unprotected first rounders in 2031 and 33. So
yeah.
depending on how they play as well, they could be looking at, just preparing for an OKC style rebuild, doubling down, knowing that we're in the 2026, 20, you're looking at 4 years of irrelevance potentially.
Yeah.
But
Has that
then
ever been Miami though?
what's that?
Like Miami, even after letting LeBron, like getting rid of LeBron James or LeBron James leaving,
Yeah.
they then got Jimmy Butler. Now they've got Giannis. Like the Miami Heat are never going to be picking in the top five. Like their organization is too strong. So
But I wonder, banking on the idea that Giannis is what, 32?
mhm.
So in 4 years' time, he's going to be like what, a 36-year-old, 7-footer in the NBA. And traditionally, 7-footers don't last very long past 32. Now, Kevin Durant and LeBron James are anomalies. They're not quite as tall as Giannis. But I wonder if that's what the Bucks are looking at and think, okay, Miami has the chance. We don't want the pick in 2028. We don't want the pick in 2029. But 31 and 33 gets to be a bit interesting. And for a fan base like Milwaukee that's not expecting to be in the finals perennially, like Boston Celtics, like New York Knicks, like Los Angeles Lakers, for example, you can potentially play the long game. And if you're smart, you can get yourself into organizational relevance and hopefully have another 5-year window where, you're cooking. But
I saw a report today that perhaps Milwaukee could look at flipping Tyler Hero. I
Mm,
think if I'm Milwaukee, I'm doing everything I can to get my draft picks back
yeah,
because tanking does absolutely nothing for them. They're
yeah.
just going to be making other teams good.
Yeah,
So,
especially now with the way in which they're changing the lottery odds and so forth. Yeah, I've heard rumors about Miles Turner. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Hero got flipped as well and, just go full Utah Jazz style and draft well. And, this is
yeah,
and just rebuild the culture. And I think that's where you kind of have to start. Like the stories that were available on ESPN and The Ringer and a couple of different outlets last year about just saying what was going on in Milwaukee was egregious. Like people were late for planes, there was no accountability. Doc was given different rules to different players based on income and so forth. And it just seemed like it was so dysfunctional, and I think they've got to make themselves a destination again. Like, okay, Oklahoma doesn't seem like a phenomenal place to live, but they've got an organization that looks after their players, and players want to go play for that kind of a place. And so I think you have to build the same way if you're in Milwaukee. And no offense to people who love Milwaukee, but I mean, if you got a choice between Miami, LA, New York, and Milwaukee, you got to find other reasons that are beyond the natural environment.
I wonder if anything they could do for Portland. Like, does Milwaukee have anything they can give Portland that will get their draft picks back? Like, let's say they send Tyler Hero, you've got to match the salary. Does
Yeah.
Portland even have somebody that's in the $30 million per year salary that they're willing to let go? I don't know. Just with the aprons and where the league is at, trades are a lot more difficult. You have to get players back.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see. But that should be Milwaukee's next move.
So
Boston. Yeah,
speak
you go ahead.
speaking of getting players back, what on earth happened with Julius Randle? Like, this
Man.
guy was a number 7 pick when he entered in the NBA. He has been, tasked with being one of the, top 3 players in New York, in Los Angeles, and now he ends up playing next to Ant and Gobert. And I think everybody can agree that, the Timberwolves lost the Karl-Anthony Edwards trade, but
Karl-Anthony Towns.
Karl-Anthony Towns, what on earth did they do? Just like they were sending picks with Julius Randle. And I was looking through the trade details, seeing what players they got back. And I saw Nick Claxton's name and I thought, oh, interesting. But he's not going to Minnesota. He's going to Chicago. What are they doing?
Yeah, it's bonkers the value that Randall has. Now, obviously, the Timberwolves needed the cap space to be able to sign Dusumu to an extension, to be able to keep him on the roster. But I think Randall needs to have an Aaron Gordon awakening. And maybe he has, and it's just the rest of the league still thinks he's not. He is just not that guy, right? He is maybe your fourth best player on a good team.
I mean, he goes on some spurts where he puts together like 15 minutes of really high quality shot making. But, I agree with you. In between that, he's not going to be your first option. I am seeing reports coming through that there's some chatter around whether or not Anthony Edwards will be moved as well before the start of next season. So that would
Before the
be,
start of next season?
yeah, yeah. Is Ant Edwards next on the block? So that would be a really interesting thing if Minnesota decided to move on from their young core and initiate a rebuild. But that seems strange to me because they were like a couple of Wemby elbows away from the Western Conference Finals. It's not like they were out of the
Yeah,
mix.
that's that's crazy. There's no way. Like, the only thing I could see happening is if they know Anthony Edwards not gonna resign, but he still has a number of years left on his contract. So I think he's got a couple years left. You can't get rid of like, you're a top 3 team in the Western Conference, right? You got Naz Reid, who's gonna be starting at the 4 now. So you have Gobert, Naz Reid, McDaniels,
Yeah.
Desumu, and Anthony Edwards. And then when DiVincenzo comes back, like, you're still a really good team. You can't get rid of a top 5 NBA player. It's just now we just saw Milwaukee do that. But could you imagine Milwaukee trading Giannis when he was like 28 or 27. Like, there's no way that would have
The
happened.
Luka Doncic
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. That's still,
But it's
man.
interesting, it didn't work in Minnesota. And so they traded away Karl-Anthony Towns, and he's now an NBA champion. And it still didn't work. They've traded Nikolai Alexander Walker, and he wins Most Improved Player over in Atlanta. And now they're trading away Julius Randle. You just think there's some funny things going on in Minnesota, but
Yeah, let's have a look at the landscape heading towards next season of the NBA. So the New York Knicks, they obviously just won the championship. I will eat my words. I thought there was no way that Jalen Brunson could lead a team to an NBA championship, but I'm still shocked. Hey, like I cannot believe what happened to the Spurs.
mm,
I still think the Spurs are a better team.
yeah, yeah, it's an
Jalen
interesting thing. You and I both picked San Antonio to win this championship. I did qualify that and think that maybe they're 1 or 2 years away, but I did think that the defense that they showed Oklahoma City would just be overwhelming to New York. And New York just figured it out. They chipped away. New York realized they didn't have to lead for all of the game. They just needed to lead at the end of the game. That made a big difference. I wondered too if maybe we were a little too high on San Antonio because the fact that OKC was down 2 starters and it was still a 7-game series, and it took 7 games to be able to put down the current league MVP. And maybe OKC is better than we're giving them credit for, and San Antonio just was lucky in a sense in that Western Conference Finals. And if you have 2 players that could give you 18 points a game in your starting lineup, well, that could have changed the series significantly. So maybe we're a little bit higher on San Antonio than we thought. But New York made it a war. And they had Mitchell Robinson, they had Cat, and that other center that they've got. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
like
they had
nobody
enough.
knows his name.
They had enough players at that number 1 position. Even Jeremy Sochan coming in and giving him a couple of minutes and just wearing him down. And Wemby was exhausted, just not able to play the full minutes. But hey, what did you make of Kevin Hart's comments about Wemby and the Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs crying at the end of the OKC series, and for them looking at the Spurs team thinking, "Well, yeah, that was your finals. You just emotionally ran ragged, and that was your mountaintop, and now you're going to struggle in the finals." And that's exactly what happened.
I wonder if they were
I
hearing
think
the
it's okay
noise.
for San Antonio to be criers at the end of the Western Conference Finals.
I think they heard the noise of this is the real NBA championship. And so maybe it was like, we just beat our biggest competition. Now let's go take care of the little Knicks, right? And so, but they're young. And that's why you thought they were a year away. That's why the media and, analysts always say that young teams don't win championships because you just don't know what you don't know until you get your battle scars. And I think that's what San Antonio did this year. I do think if De'Aaron Fox had 100% healthy ankle, that the Spurs would have been a different team. I mean, if you watch regular season De'Aaron Fox versus what he was in the playoffs, like he just had no explosiveness in the playoffs. And, the fastest player in the NBA getting tracked down at the end by Anunoby to get blocked. Like I don't think a healthy De'Aaron Fox that happens. And maybe he didn't have those calculations in his head. I mean, that's still a crazy they should have won that game where he decided not to dribble out the clock. But I've been seeing Lorne, and it's kind of crazy. I think Harper needs to be a starter. I think you're gonna lose Harper if he's not starting next year.
Yeah, right. 100%.
I think and I'm seeing reports that Mitch Johnson is saying that De'Aaron Fox is still our guy and he's gonna be a starter on this team. So does that mean like Devin Vassell's going to the bench? Who's going to the bench for Harper? Because Harper needs to be on the floor.
Well, that's the big thing, right? Is that looking at Harper over Fox? That's what they're trying to push for. But you can't get off of De'Aaron Fox money. So that was one of the things that has been advocated or rumored that they need to trade De'Aaron Fox. But I don't think that you tinker with this team too much. You try and keep this team together as much as you possibly can for that youth reason. Like, if you start unloading, OKC did this and they won the championship last year, right? And they've been pretty good about keeping people together. I mean, there's an argument about Chet or whatever, but for the Spurs, I think it's probably the best thing for a 22-year-old center to realize that despite the fact that he's a prodigy and an alien and, is going to have a phenomenal career in this league, that you get stung at the highest levels. And if being stung in a gold medal game against the US, where you just came against Curry in one of his absolute most dominant moments, to be stung in the under 18 world championships with Chet taking MVP honors, now to be stung in the NBA finals. There's a good legacy of really big lessons that you can learn that hopefully mean that next time you're in this environment, you don't pass an outlet in the dying moments into the back of your point guard. Like, you just can't do that. And, the De'Aaron Fox one, I've gone back and watched the tape like that. He could have dribbled it out, yes, but everything was happening so fast. And you're programmed from such a young age to attack the basket. And he had what looked like a good look. And, I wouldn't necessarily fault him on that one in the same way that Wemby's pass off the back was just egregious. Like, to me, that was the biggest marker. But yeah, the whole organization's going to learn from that. They're going to not shoot as many 3-pointers when they're 34 points up ever again. I guarantee you. You go to your bread and butter and your low post game and just wear out the clock instead of, shooting so early in the shot clock. But yeah, it's interesting to think. I think, having said that, on the New York side, this was the greatest storyline in sports in recent history. A city that hasn't had the championship for 53 years, a city that has millions of people who love the city. Like, New York is a great place to be, high energy. I've had some fun in New York City. And to see the city come together in such an exciting fashion and just celebrate top to bottom, from all your celebrities down to the block parties and watch parties throughout the whole city. My brother's actually living in New York at the moment, and he said it's a vibe. And I can't think of a better place for an NBA championship this year. And then, especially to cap it off with Brunson, an undersized guard who you all roasted me for saying I would rather build a team around Brunson than Luka Doncic. This is exactly the reason why. You'll never have critique about his character. You'll never have critiques about his leadership. You'll never have critiques about his defense and his effort. You'll never have critiques about his drive and determination. And he just put the Knicks on his back, 45 points in an elimination game, orchestrating one of the best comebacks in NBA history in the finals. That man has tons to be proud of. And one of the things I really appreciated about the New York Knicks winning it, it's just the response and the integrity of the players after they won. Like, Brunson's up there with his dad and just saying some really wholesome, funny, great stuff. Josh Hart has got his kids around him and he's prioritizing, like, making sure that that's a beautiful moment for his family. And these guys put a lot of sacrifice into it. And it just seemed like everybody won in this Knicks championship. And I thought it was pretty cool.
One player you didn't really mention who I think won the most in terms of his reputation was Karl-Anthony Towns. Like, man, I don't know a player whose reputation has been flipped on its head more from one series than Karl-Anthony Towns. He shut the critics up. I mean, the defense that he played on Wemby was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got into some stupid foul trouble
Some of it
in
felt like wasn't even his fault.
yeah. So I think Cat was a huge X factor in that series. And the difference, Lauren, between the Knicks and the Spurs is the Knicks had a guy at the end of the game that could close the game out. And Wemby just doesn't at this stage of his career, and maybe that's never Wemby. Maybe Wemby is a first, second, third, half of fourth quarter guy. And then I mean, that's sort of that's sort of the NBA, like, even the Nuggets, right? Jokic isn't the guy that's taking the final shot in the clutch, it's Murray.
Yeah.
You've
True.
got these guards that are the ones that need to be able to create their shot, the mid-range is becoming more valuable these days than, than it has been in the last 10 years. So, but the Knicks, do you think looking into 2026, 2027, do the Knicks have a shot at repeating, or did things just break their way this year and maybe that's their only championship with this core?
Well, look, I think we have to, history says in the last, 8 years, we've had a new NBA champion every year. So,
Yeah.
repeating is going to be really, really difficult. Whether or not they can bring most of the pieces back, most of the guys back this year, James Dolan has already gone on record saying that they can't go into higher aprons to retain the team. So they're going to have to be creative. I think there's a lot of money to be made on the side in New York City. So, not saying that it's going to be the same velocity deals or whatever it is that the Clippers had, but you could find different income streams if you're a player in New York. So I don't think it's that hard to secure people, especially if you have a culture like what they built. That being said, I don't think this was an anomaly at all. Like, they lost their first two games to Atlanta, and that was it. That was the reality check. And from there on out, they went on one of the greatest NBA Finals runs, and they made other teams look silly. Like Cleveland Cavs, see you later. Like that team, if they keep James Harden next year, what is going to happen? Like, I just don't. I don't think it's fair, or I don't think it's right, I should say, to say that this was a fluke. So can the New York Knicks come back? I think absolutely they could be in the finals next year. But other teams are not going to stand pat and just, Indiana Pacers will be coming hopefully with a healthy Halliburton, and will remain to be seen what happens with the Miami Heat. If you got a fully healthy Boston Celtics for the whole year, that will be interesting to see what kind of moves still have to be made before the opening of the season. But look, to say that New York doesn't have a chance, I think that's silly. That was an incredible postseason from them.
Yeah. Everyone has a chance. I will say that every championship comes with luck. Like in the history of the NBA, every single team that wins a championship,
Yeah.
they are typically the team that remained healthiest throughout the playoffs, right? Like even the Warriors Cavs matchups for those number of years, it came down to who was healthy and who was not. The Thunder, they got health breaks with Halliburton going down in the finals, the Nuggets championships, the Lakers, like it comes down to who is healthy. And I guess what makes you confident in a team that they are who we think they are is, can they get back, not to even just winning a championship, but can they get back in the dance? Like those Warriors teams, you sort of knew they were going to be in the finals year after year after year. And same with those Cavs team. And I just don't have personally that same confidence in the Knicks that I'm going to write them in the finals next year, especially like you said, it'll be interesting to see what Boston does, right? Is Jaylen Brown a Boston Celtic next year? Is Jaylen Brown a Boston Celtic by the end of this week? Like that seems to be a huge question mark currently. He's really damaging, in my opinion, his reputation with his Twitch streaming.
Yeah, it's funny. He's saying some strange stuff that can be interpreted a few different ways. And I wonder if he's being intentionally provocative or if he's just ignorant to how it comes across. But if there's anything that the likes of Stephen A. Smith and other people like, it's jumping on every little thing that people say. And so I think some of it is manufactured way out of proportion to what it could be. But
I
yeah,
do think, though, he got a taste of being the guy, and I wonder if he wants that. I wonder if Jaylen Brown would like to be separated from Jason Tatum and to be the guy, to be 1A on his team.
it'd be an interesting question. I would love to get his take on that if he was able ever. These guys are not really able to be honest in public about this kind of stuff. But like, would you rather be 1A on a trash team that's in the lottery? Or would you be rather be like 1A and 1B on a team that has a chance to win a championship? He is already the NBA Finals MVP. Like, he showed that he is that guy.
Yeah, but I
So,
guess this is where his Twitch comes from. He said, "This was my favorite year ever." Like, that sort of says it all. You've won a championship, and you're saying this was your favorite year.
yeah, but like, those two things are not mutually exclusive. Like your favorite, yeah, you win a championship, you dream about that your whole life and you get there. And then all of a sudden you realize, wow, I'm still the same person after winning the championship that I always was. And you need a new target to fuel you. And so the whole world is thinking that you're going to be a lottery team and this is your gap year. And then you lead them to the second best record in the East. Like, come on. Like, of course you'd be proud of that. Sure, it'd be favorite. You had all this speculation. You proved all of your doubters wrong. And you were the guy, sure, but that doesn't mean that you didn't like Jason Tatum. It didn't mean that you didn't like the year before. Just because it's your favorite, you can blow that up in so many different ways. I agree it's a bit of an odd thing to say. And with the microscope and the speculation already on them in such a degree, either behind the scenes, they're laughing at each other. Like they're laughing at it, being like, man, the world's just trying to break us apart. If Tatum and Brown are good, then who cares? Nobody else is going to, get in their heads about it, especially if they're in conversation to win championships every year. But
Yeah,
I
but they
do.
lost to a Philly. They lost to Philly, who got absolutely destroyed the next round.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. I think that's a bit of a. They're not the 2024 or 2023 Celtics that won the championship. The league has changed dramatically since
They
then.
also got rid of Drew Holiday
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Anthony Simons, and they brought in Vujicic instead of Time
Yeah, they
Lord.
got
Like, that's not the same team, and they did all of those things thinking that they were taking a gap year and they didn't wanna pay salary, but imagine if they did keep Drew Holiday, right? Like, if they did hang on to some of these players and not trade them away, what they might have looked like. You know, yes,
yeah,
luck has
but I
to do with it.
yeah, but next year, like, there's still this. How long is a gap year? Like, they're still the same team next year that they were this year, right?
Who do you think are the top 4 teams in the East next year?
Great question. Let's get into it. I think I'll put the Knicks in there.
Yeah,
Regular season, I will say the Cavs.
really, still, okay.
Yeah, they're a great James Harden. I have no question that he's a good regular season player.
Regular season guy. Yeah, okay, fair.
3rd, I don't I'm not ready to put Indiana right back in the top 4.
Yeah, okay.
Man, that draft luck really sucked for them.
That really did.
That was really unfortunate. Boston will still be there.
Yeah.
They'll still be a top 4 team. Interesting to see if the Raptors can make it, like, if Scotty Barnes can take another leap, and if they've got the talent necessary to be a top 4 team, they'll play hard, but Philly, Philly is all about health. If Philly's healthy, I don't think Miami's there yet with what they have. Like, if I'm putting Miami against New York, I'm still taking New York. If I'm putting Miami against the Celtics, I'm probably still taking the Celtics.
Yeah,
If
okay.
I'm giving Miami against Cleveland, I'll probably still take Donovan Mitchell and James Harden and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen to be better than the Miami Heat. So, but maybe Miami is in that 4th spot. It's probably between Miami and Philly and Toronto and Indiana. Like, I could see that being a bit of a jumbled up
Mm.
foursome.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. So,
Do you have any thoughts?
Knicks in the top 4, they're definitely in the mix then to potentially come out of the East. Yeah, I'd be curious to see. I think the teams that have kind of proven themselves in this area would be Detroit, and
How did I forget Detroit?
maybe they make some moves to get better this offseason, address some of their scoring issues. So you still got Detroit, New York, and in my mind, it would be Boston. And, I want to say with a healthy Tyrese Halliburton, then maybe Indiana, but you maybe have Orlando, Indiana, Miami, all in that cluster. And the top 3 being, Detroit, Boston, and New York. That would be logical to me. Who takes that 4th spot? Could it be Toronto? Could it be Orlando? Could it be? It depends.
So are
What
you
we
totally off Cleveland? Like, Cleveland's just a non-factor for you?
I look, I think they're a decent regular season team, but after what they showed in the playoffs, I wonder what it's going to be like for them moving forward. was that James Harden was in the news on the NBA Finals day for possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of a firearm. And if you're the Cleveland Cavs, like you got to see that kind of stuff, right? Like, I don't know about you, but for me, in terms of player culture, team culture, that says a lot about the guys that we've got there. And typically, they don't last long in places. Thinking about like Gilbert Arenas and some of those other guys. So James Harden, I think was really underwhelming in the postseason, and I wonder if that'll just upset the culture. I don't know if James Harden is your great culture guy, and if you're trusting him to build that out. I don't necessarily see them, Toronto, Indiana, who's going to come out of that. I wouldn't necessarily be super excited to say Cleveland in the number 4 spot. I think it could go many different ways. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
And speaking of firearms, John Morant will probably not be in Memphis next year. Do
You
you
reckon?
think that? Yeah, I mean, I think they're in rebuild mode. They just drafted Boozer third overall in the draft, and you don't want to be bringing young guys, I don't think, with your superstar being John Morant. That's just now. I don't know the guy personally, but it doesn't seem to have been going well for the last number of years. So, is there a John Morant to
Yeah.
Miami situation where, Miami can somehow bring in the cap of Ja? That was always the rumor that he would be in Miami. Could he Ja in Miami? Could you That'll be like in the city of Miami.
Yeah.
That might be a mess. But or Cleveland, like, is there an opportunity to get rid of Harden and bring in Ja? Would you even want to do that if you're Cleveland? I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. The way in which the Grizzlies went, though, is in drafting Boozer. They've got a 6'9" forward, right? So you still need a strong guard position. So I wonder if they are just trying to, show their faith in John Morant and say, "Hey, we'll give you another year. Like, make it happen. You wanted to show everybody that you're the guy. You had a terrible year last year. Have they moved on from their coach?
No.
No, okay. Well, so yeah, that would be a really interesting. Is it Islao or whatever his name
Yeah,
is?
whatever his name is.
Yeah. So I don't know if he'll be, you know, John Morant just doesn't seem like an attractive prospect. If you're trying to upgrade your guard position and move on from James Harden, you bring in John Morant. I think there'd be some angry people in your fan base. Like that doesn't help you with the culture issues and the different things that I just mentioned. So yeah, but
Let's do that. Let's do that exercise that we did in the East. In the West, who would your top 4 be?
I think your top 4, you still have to have Oklahoma City and San Antonio.
Yep,
And then outside of that, it gets a little bit interesting.
Minnesota.
Well, I want to see what happens with how what moves they. I think just getting rid of Julius Randle doesn't make the team better. Like, say what you want about Julius Randle, it doesn't. He's still good for 10 points and 8 rebounds a game, right? Like, I don't know if it opens up your offense. I want to see what other moves that they make before I'm really ready to crown them in my top 4. And I want to see the same thing about Denver. Like Denver's, two-trick pony in the red. And I completely was wrong about the Cam Johnson trade. Michael Porter Jr. was the preferred option in that place, but they are razor thin. And you were saying earlier today that depth wins championships. Denver has to make some serious moves if they want to be in title contention in the top 4 next year. That was a disappointing postseason from them,
Yeah.
but it seems like it's
Houston.
Lakers have a lot of people they need to re-sign. Their team is going to look radically different than it was last year. Clippers are out. Golden State, they're on the clock now. We'll see who they draft, but I'm not exactly like super excited about,
Yeah,
their.
they'll be half hurt. Like, if they're not getting rid of Jimmy Butler, you don't have your second best player for half the season.
Oh,
So
exactly right.
they're not gonna be a top 4 team in the regular season. But Houston, they'll have Van Fleet back. I wonder what having a
I
true
forgot
point
about
guard will do for Houston.
Yeah, I forgot about them. So they might be in the top 3. That'll be an interesting team when they have all their veterans back.
Yeah,
But
Phoenix, does Phoenix, do they make some noise, or was last year a one-trick pony?
yeah, I mean, they brought back Gillespie and they still have our Canadian Dylan Brooks. And
Who I also some reason I really like Dylan Brooks now. I could not stand him when he was in Memphis, but
Yeah, when he was pulling all of that shenanigans against LeBron and so forth. But I think he's a player that's really gotten in the gym and he's put in the work. He's fun to watch, and every player would rather have him on the team than play against him. That is for sure.
yeah. So you
Uh,
don't think okay, so we've got San Antonio, Oklahoma City, not in that order, but just there. And
and
then
Houston.
we've got Houston. So it's that fourth section, that fourth seed that we're unsure of it could be the Lakers. I think the Lakers need to prioritize getting, you can't have DeAndre Ayton as your center. You gotta have a center there. And maybe if you're the Lakers, would you be willing to do an Austin Reeves for Jared Allen or Evan Mobley trade? Who says yes? Let's say Austin Reeves for Evan Mobley.
Wow. Well, it sounds like Luka has been trying to put pressure on the front office to bring in a big, like a
Yeah.
quality, and that would be an interesting deal because then you get a quality 7-footer, and if you're a 7-footer, if you can have a lob threat and a passer like Luka, that would be pretty phenomenal. But yeah, Austin Reeves is the guy that Luka likes playing with, so it'd be really interesting to see if he can stay in the Lakers. I wonder if he's kind of like one of those players that needs to have two options in front of him to really unlock.
Mm, yeah.
But I
Which
might,
you would still have that, right? You'd still have Donovan Mitchell and if James Harden is still there. But the problem I have with Reeves and Luca on the same team is they're redundant. Like they do the same things. I think in quality team building, you need to have players that have different roles that star in their roles.
yeah, yeah.
So I just think Reeves is just a lesser version of Luca.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's an interesting comment. That's a very interesting comment, and Los Angeles seems to have no trouble, especially if the Lakers, no trouble bringing players in to play in LA, signing free agents and whatever. I'm always amazed at how they're able to pivot and rebrand and get LeBron James and then get Luka Doncic and still get quality players like Austin Reeves and so forth to come in. I think the big question for Lakers are they going to have LeBron James there again next year?
Yeah.
And if so, is he willing to sign for less than he thinks he's worth and less than he actually is worth because he still averaged more than 20 points a game and at his age that's
Is
phenomenal. But you know what's
is he
interesting?
gonna play? Is he gonna play, Lauren? Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah, I
spending
mean,
time with all these retired players right now in that 10-year reunion.
could you imagine if in the next 15 minutes he takes the whole shine off the NBA draft by announcing his retirement? That would be a very king thing to do. And if you were AJ DeBanza, you'd just be furious for the rest of your career, being like, "What year were you drafted? What position were you? Oh, that was the day LeBron James retired." Nobody would talk about that ever again.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's
No,
the interesting thing. We did the exercise, just the top four, and I specifically did the top four instead of top five because we're having trouble getting these top four teams, right? So it seems like there's favorites in the top three positions in both the East and the West. And then there's clusters of teams. You were talking about Phoenix, you were talking about Los Angeles, you're talking about
Golden
who
State.
else? Minnesota, for example, over in the West. And in the East, we're talking about the Raptors and Indiana and Miami and so forth. I think it's pretty good for league parity. We've got some good teams coming through the ranks, and it'll give us a really good season next year.
Yeah,
Golden State, fuck, I'm looking forward to
I
seeing who
know.
they did the
Just
top
I've
10,
been
and they must be taking a big ad break.
any surprise I don't really know these guys, but I don't follow, college enough, but I'm hoping to see some trades. We gotta have some trades happen. I love the NBA offseason mainly because from the end of the finals to the beginning of the preseason, it's so short.
Yeah,
Like, NBA is just all year round. But, yeah, our Warriors, Lauren, like, we talk about the Spurs and the Thunder, then we talk about the Knicks and, whoever else the Pistons and the Rockets, like, we don't have much there. We don't have much of a chance.
I think if you were to say to like if we were to have this conversation, like what 5 years ago, 7 years ago, and you would say our starting five was Kristaps Porzingis, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Moses Moody, Steph Curry, you'd be like, that's not bad. Or DeAnthony Melton and Steph Curry, that's not bad. That's a good starting five. But I think maybe you're 7 years too late. And I think this is a tricky year. Yaxel Lendeborg. Let's go
Yeah.
look at Yaxel
I
Lendeborg.
I think he's that 7'3" center that the Warriors had in their mock draft. Two Michigan players go in the top 11 draft picks.
2 meters and 6 centimeters. He's born in New Jersey.
Okay, so it's not the guy they had mocked. Who is he? Comment below if you have any idea. Should we be excited about this guy?
American Dominican.
Yexo. 6'9"?
Yeah. So he's not a 7-footer.
No.
I'm amazed that the Indiana Pacers don't have one pick in the first round of the draft after egregiously tanking.
I guess the question is for them, like, is Zubac worth it? Because, he was a really good center.
Yeah.
Is he worth giving up a first rounder for? Like, would you draft someone of his caliber in the first round? And I think yes.
Well, you're talking specifically Zubac?
Yeah, right? That's
100%.
who yeah. So I don't think, it sucks they don't have to draft. They can't draft anyone, but they'll
Yeah.
I still think that pick will defer to next year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think that's how these draft picks works. Have you been watching any World Cup, Lorne?
Look, here's a crazy thing that I'm going to admit. I am aware of the World Cup scores, but I am boycotting this year's World Cup in terms of watching games for myself. And my reason why is because of the egregious money making that is going on by FIFA. The expansion of the World Cup to include all of these extra teams that would normally not qualify, and so are allowing for all of this stat padding to happen for all of the stars like Messi and Mbappe and so forth. I think it's crazy that they're spreading the World Cup over 3 nations, over a whole continent. It just doesn't have like that same centric vibe that it has had in other years. And I have to say, I have not been impressed by the racism on the borders that has been sending away referees and teams and making life hard for the Iranian team, for example, some of the African referees and so forth. And I think it's a distraction from some pretty serious things going on in the world. And not to be a downer, because I really do enjoy football. I used to live in Holland. I love the Euro Cup. I love the World Cup when it's playing. It's super exciting. I've lived in Japan. I've lived in Holland. I've lived in Canada and Australia. And each of those teams have teams in the World Cup. So I can't not be aware of their scores. But I'm not going to watch it this year because the average fans are being priced out of arenas, and I think that sucks and it's deplorable. I think they should be ashamed of themselves for doing that.
Should
And
the Knicks be ashamed of themselves?
I think that's different. I think that's different. I mean, NBA finals, you haven't won for 53 years, and auctioning off tickets to be in the arena, that's one thing. But having empty seats and selling tickets for thousands of dollars is just stupid to me. This is the world's game, and it's increasingly being bought out by people in the world who have a lot more than people who love their team. So I'm not watching any of the games. You can think that this is a hot take and you can laugh at me. It could be hypocritical, fair enough. But yeah, so I had all that to say, I'm aware of what's going on in the World Cup. I'm not exactly super excited about all these 6-0 scores, although Canada's first game in the World Cup, that's kind of exciting for them. 5-0, 5-1, whatever. Especially when you've got teams like Bahrain and Panama in there playing against some of these big things. No disrespect to those teams, but if you have a tighter qualification, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to make it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my
Neither would
on
neither would
that is my
Canada.
rant, and I'm
Yeah,
sticking.
thanks for the rant. I love a good Lorne rant. Love a good you gotta get these things off your chest, and what better place than the club to
Yeah, I tried to explain it to my wife, and she just didn't really kind of care either way. So
look, as long as you're not just watching sports 24/7 in the house, she's happy, right?
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But what about you,
Well,
John? Are you in on this World Cup? What's your thoughts?
look, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched a full football match since Ronaldinho and Ronaldo and Kaká played for Brazil in 2002.
The glory
So
years. The
yeah,
glory
yeah,
years.
that was those were FIFA, PlayStation 1, or maybe PlayStation 2 had just been released, so the graphics at that stage was insane. Played a lot of FIFA, and Ronaldinho had this awesome commercial, which I loved. It was the Golden Boot. Anyhow, I don't watch soccer. This
But
is
here's
my
my
off
fear.
year.
Here's my fear, though, with exactly what you're saying. Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, you mentioned Kaká, Zidane, Roberto Carlos. These are some of the names from that era. Thierry Henry, Ruud van Nistelrooy. These are sort of like an era of soccerdom that was just phenomenal. And some of their statistics are going to be like marginally overlooked because now you've got a World Cup system that is expanded to include all these other teams. And
Yeah,
now it's not unusual to get a hat trick. It's not unusual to get a brace and get 2 goals in, you know? I just think, I don't
yeah.
know if we're
I
doing
know
world a service. Anyway,
I
keep
know
going.
for stat purists that's a tough thing, but that's just the reality of sports, right? Like there was no 3-point line in the NBA and then they added a 3-point line. Steve Kerr's best 3-point shooting season ever was the year they moved the 3-point line in and then they moved it back out. Like there's always rule changes which changes the statistics of these players. But Lauren, we're back on NBA here for a sec if my computer would load.
Yeah.
And I am fully aware that I am slightly addicted here, but we're going to do a quick 82 and 0 challenge, you and I,
This
and
one,
see if we can get it. I've gotten about 6 82 and 0s here, so let's see what we can do. Let's get a spin in.
get a spin. The 82-0 challenge. This is
Boston
serious.
60s. All right. Here's where I go. 60s is such a clutch. You either need to get Oscar Robertson or Wilt Chamberlain. Like even Bill Russell, you don't get 82 and 0 with. So do we spin again or do we take Bill?
Nah, you got to spin the team, right?
Yeah, we spin the team. We want Kings or Warriors. Ooh, Philly. I think they also have Wilt. Yes, let's go. We're on a Lauren. Could this happen? Is this
82
happening?
and 0 in your first one. I don't know. Dallas,
Dallas. You need
Luka
era. No, you need 2020 Luka. It
to get
doesn't
the
work with
stats up. Oh well,
yeah.
but you
Oh,
lost your
we'll
bonus
get Dirk.
bill.
We'll get Dirk. Dirk does it.
You've lost your bonus bills. You need to get lucky. 12. Dominique Wilkins, not bad.
Dominic. I think we're looking good. We need a LeBron James or a Michael. Ooh, Clyde Drexler. Does he get us there?
I don't know
We
if
don't
he.
have an option. We don't have options.
Did
We
you
might
just
have to
see
do.
that OKC just picked a 7'3" center?
Oh, that's the
Be
guy the
nervous,
Warriors were
Chet.
gonna
Be
get.
nervous.
All right, Giannis in the tens. That's gonna be
I think this is about what 71, 68 to 71,
68, 76. All
76
right,
and 6. Not
mate.
bad.
You got time for one more?
Yeah. You know what will happen when you're addicted? One more becomes 5 more.
Let's go. Come on. Lakers, Doncic, let's go.
But yeah, that's a good start.
Houston 90s. Hakeem doesn't get us there. That's Charles Barkley's washed up by this time.
Yeah.
Lauren, what do we do? If we do a team, we could get Chicago and get Michael.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's go for an MJ. Come on, Chicago. Ooh, we could get Karl Malone at power forward. Doesn't get much better than that, does it? Do we
27
boycott? Do we boycott him though?
27 and 10, it's all right. It's just a game.
So we don't need to boycott him. If this was real life, we'd boycott it, right? Dodgy man.
Right. So this Ade Mara was the guy that they were looking at for drafting in for the Warriors. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he was in the mock draft for the Warriors. He's from like Spain or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Lorne, we've got Minnesota 90s. I think we need to do an era. No, because we already have a power forward. Kevin Garnett at small forward, maybe, because we got to get the rebounds up as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've kind of got a 68 win team here. Put Garnett in the small forward position.
All right, San Antonio Spurs.
David Robinson, not bad.
Yeah, I don't. This isn't definitely not it.
Yeah, you need to spin the era here. You've got your one last chance. Spurs can.
Spurs. Who are we going to get as a shooting guard though in 2020? DeMar DeRozan.
Which, is not bad stats wise, but yeah, it's not an all time 82-0 team.
Look, these
74 and
teams.
8, still historic.
All right, Lauren. This is our final. I promise you, this is our final one, and then we'll wrap this up. All
Can
right,
you get 82-0 in 3 goes?
Cleveland 20s. We want
Donovan
to do an.
Mitchell in your point guard position is not bad, but you could get.
But if we era, we LeBron
you
it.
could get peak LeBron, yeah. And
No, everything but the 90s.
yeah, that's pretty bad. Trading Donovan Mitchell for Sean Kemp. You want to you want to restart it? Restart it now and cut your losses?
Yeah. Come on, continue. Classic. All right, come on. We got to get a good first spin here. Memphis 20s. Man, there's some teams that really get me annoyed in this game. Anthony Edwards. Or do we get Cat for more stats across the board and only one less point? We take Cat.
Yeah, you got to take Cat. On the power forward position, he's pretty safe.
Miami thousands. Dwayne Wade or Shaq? We take Dwayne Wade, correct?
Well, yeah,
Shaq
for
is
assists and steals and blocks. Ironically, Dwayne Wade had more blocks than Shaq. But Shaq's knees weren't so great then.
Ooh, do we era Milwaukee and hope we get Wilt? Not Wilt,
Giannis?
Kareem.
Yeah, era it. If you go forward or back, you're going to win. So,
Yeah, let's get 70s, 20s. That's
Giannis.
good. Or do we take Dame?
No, take Giannis because you can put him everywhere. You only sacrifice
That's true. That's true.
one rebound.
Phoenix 70s. I like it. What do you think here, Lauren? I think we just take the best player available personally.
Yeah, that's right. Stick him in the point guard spot. You can move him across. All right, last spin. What do you got?
Golden State Warriors 90s.
Oh, and you
Mullen.
can't do era. Yeah.
Look,
yeah.
we had a decent run, but no 82-0 today,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Well, that is all the time we have in the club. We have an exciting off season ahead of us for the NBA. Hopefully, we got more trade talks. And if you haven't already, we'd love to know who are going to be the top 4 teams in each conference. Comment them below. And if you want to do a way too early prediction of 2026, 2027 NBA championship, comment it.
Let us know. Let's hear it. You get your picks in before all the trades happen, and we can go through the trades. Still looking for sponsors in case you want to sponsor our podcast. We're all open.
Lauren, it's been an absolute pleasure. Go and boycott that World Cup, my friend.
It's true. It's not hard to do. I got so much time for other things. It's great.
See you later.